Hello, guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. And if I'm audible, let me know. Thank you, Manvinder. Right. So, is this newspaper visible to you? Just give me a quick confirmation. Okay, thank you so much. Right. So we're going to begin our analysis for today, right? So there are certain important news that we have to discuss in today's newspaper. So it would be a quite a specific type of news that we will try to read, right? Okay. So the first news is related to Chandrayaan 3 that landed on the moon successfully pinged by orbiting NASA spacecraft using laser. So this has happened for the very first time that a NASA spacecraft has successfully pinged India's Chandrayaan 3 lander on the moon. According to NASA, a laser beam was transmitted and reflected between its lunar Renaissance orbiter and the Vikram lander for the first time on lunar surface. The US Space Agency has said that this successful experiment opens the door to a new style of precisely locating targets on the moon's surface. Now, this is a very interesting thing. Let's try to understand. See, Vikram lander that has been a part of Chandrayaan 3 mission was on the moon. And in this context, one thing we have to understand is that USA का अगर हम बात करें, there is particular lunar Renaissance orbiter that is orbiting the moon. Now, how this orbiter was able to have a contact, or let's say was able to know the location of the Vikram lander, that is through the transmission of the laser beam that was transmitted and it was reflected back. So this is how they get a proper idea that where this particular location of Vikram lander was, and in the upcoming times it will help a lot for them in the future, that it will try to tell them that where are certain locations, or let's say where are the certain things that are located on the moon's surface, and it will help us a lot in our ongoing experiments related to explore the surface of the moon. So this is a very big news that is coming directly from NASA, where Chandrayaan 3 has been successfully pinged by orbiting NASA spacecraft using the laser. Right. So this was the important news that we have to understand from this particular context. Okay. Now moving to the second part, after Bihar, the Andhra Pradesh has become the second state to take up caste census, right? So ये news आपको पता होनी चाहिए just for the information, for a factual point of view. Okay. Now this is a very interesting thing. Prime Minister was in Sholapur, Maharashtra, where he laid the foundation stone for 8 Amrut projects in the state worth 2,000 crore and dedicated 15,000 houses of the Rainagar Housing Society, whose beneficiaries include thousands of handloom and powerloom workers, rack pickers, BD workers, among others. Now, one of the things that we have to understand in this context is that government has provided this very, very important, that is this largest low cost housing project that has been given to the people like handloom, powerloom workers, rack pickers, and BD workers, among others. So these are the certain things that have been done by the Prime Minister. Plus, Prime Minister also said about that 25 crore people has been removed out of the poverty in the last 10 years of his government. That is basically corroborated by the fact that Niti Aayog has just said that how many people have come out of multi-dimensional poverty index. So this is something we can we can say it's a political rally where a government is trying to motivate what they have done in context of Indian people. So laid the foundation stone of Amrut, right? You need to know about the Amrut project, and they had developed this largest low cost housing project, right? So these are certain things that we need to understand and we need to know. पेपर में अगर पूछा जाए तो हमें पता होना चाहिए. Okay, moving to the next part. Okay, now this is very important news that is related to Prime Minister Modi opens Boeing facility in Bengaluru, say it reinforces global trust in India's talent. Now, this is very, very important. Prime Minister has inaugurated the Boeing India Engineering and Technology Campus so that here we would be able to design aircraft of the future. Very, very important. Now, this campus is very important and this inauguration is very important because this state of the art BITIC campus has been built with an investment of 1600 crore, which is spread over 43 acres. It is the America's aerospace major's largest such investment outside the US. So this strengthens the relation between India and US, first of all, because they have decided to launch this project. And this becomes very, very important that the site that has been chosen is the Karnataka, where they are trying to build BITIC campus, where it will help the young people to design aircraft of the future. And also this strengthens India's Make in India make for the world resolution as well, right? So this is also very, very important. And one of the other program that was launched with this BITIC campus that you have to learn and remember is Boeing Sukanya program. And I'm telling you guys, this type of question can directly come in the prelims, that what is Boeing Sukanya program? It is to support the entry of more girl children from across India into the country's growing aviation sector. I think everybody is aware that how government has been able to ramp up the aviation infrastructure with schemes like Udan scheme as well. And now they want more and more girl children to be participating into the country's aviation sector. That is why they have launched the program Boeing Sukanya program. This program will help girls and women from across India to learn critical skills in science, technology, engineering, and math fields and train them for jobs in the aviation sector. For young girls, the program will create STEM labs at 150 locations to help spark interest in STEM careers. Now, this is also very important. One of the things that has been a particular concern that we have seen over the time period is lack of participation of women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and maths, right? So there is a certain perception that women do not perform well in these particular subjects. So as a result, in order to make sure that we have the entry of women into the aviation sector where there is a requirement of science, technology, engineering, and maths, there would be STEM labs that would be created at 150 locations in to help spark interest in the STEM careers. So this is also very important. Plus, India is leading the world in the number of women pilots. About 15% of Indian pilots are women, which is 3 times more than the global average. So this is also very important. This program will give a boost to women's participation in the aviation while helping the poor living in far-flung areas to realize their dreams of becoming a pilot. So this is also very important scheme where the people can from rural areas can even aspire that they can be a pilot in the upcoming future. So this is a very important program that has been launched in Bengaluru. First of all, you need to understand that there is a BITIC campus, and second of all, that is the Boeing Sukanya program. Very important, so that we are able to make sure कि हम participation को increase कर सके. Now this is also very important thing that I was talking about, the Udan scheme, where government has said that in 2014 we had 70 operational airports. Now that has increased to 150 operational airports. So this is also a very big achievement in the field of aviation, where we have been able to increase the number of people who have been let's say traveling through the aviation field. But one of the problem that has resurfaced, that is related to recently, because there has been a huge footfall in the various, we can say, airlines, that is Indigo, right, SpiceJet. But such type of incidents occur and they needs to be resolved so that people have still the faith in the aviation field. So these are the certain points that we have to understand, and this is the most important article that is there in today's newspaper, which is related to how we can make sure we can have entry of women in the aviation sector, right? And this also help us in achieving the sustainable development goals, where we are trying to achieve gender equality as well, right? We always perceive that men to be the front runner in the fields of STEM fields, but this particular program, or if it is implemented to its fullest, to its core, then we will be able to see certain changes in the upcoming future, where there could be women who might have certain interests but they only aspire, but they are not able to take it, right? They are not able to practically realize it. Maybe through this facility, maybe through this program, there could be a certain change in the behavior, and we can see a lot of women now more coming and participating in the STEM fields, where already we know that there have been women from urban areas that have been participating and have become the women pilots as well. That is corroborated by the fact that 15% of Indian women are pilots. Indian pilots are women, which is 3 times more than the global average, right, guys? Okay, now moving to the next part. Now this is a very interesting news. This is related to how do you plan to save the great Indian bustard? Now, Great Indian bustard, I want to tell you, is a very important animal if we talk about from environmental perspective. Earlier, it used to be in huge numbers, but now its population is mostly reduced to Rajasthan and Gujarat, right? It used to be there initially in the parts of the Pakistan as well, but now their population has dwindled, right? It is being, let's say, available only in, if we can say, in the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. But now the problem that has erupted in the case of this great Indian bustard is that their population is dwindling, very much important. Their population has become critically endangered. इनकी population को बहुत ज्यादा खतरा हो रहा है अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं great Indian bustard की. And one of the point that you have to understand is that this particular great Indian bustard was one of the mascot at the conference that was there to the Bonn Convention, which is related to Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species, right? कन्वेंशन ऑन कंजर्वेशन ऑफ माइग्रेटरी स्पीशीज की एक कन्वेंशन है जिसे हम बॉन कन्वेंशन कहते हैं. उसकी कॉन्फ्रेंस 2020 में गांधीनगर में हुई थी जिसके मैस्कट क्या थे? ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड था. नाउ that time the population was not that much in danger, but right now what we have seen in the past 1 or 2 years, that is from 2022 and 2023, their population has decreased in a greater number. Why? Because of the high transmission power lines that are there because of the solar power projects that are being going in the areas in Gujarat and Rajasthan, which is supposed to be the natural habitat of these species. And most of these species are doing what? They are electrocuted because of this high power transmission lines that are situated in Rajasthan and Gujarat. अब इसकी वजह से बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट हो रही है, जिसकी वजह से सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने गवर्नमेंट को पूछा है कि हाउ डू यू प्लान टू सेव दिस ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड. नाउ दिस ग्रेट इंडियन बस्टर्ड इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हाउ डू यू प्लान टू सेव इट? अर्लियर दे हैड आस्क्ड द अथॉरिटीज कि क्या आप अपनी ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस अंडरग्राउंड कर सकते हो to the developers of the solar energy, but quickly they refused that we cannot do that because it will escalate the cost of solar energy. But then government also, Supreme Court also asked the government, if you can have a conservation of tiger and you can launch Project Tiger, then why cannot you launch Project Great Indian Bustard on the lines of Project Tiger, which is also very important. Now I'm telling you guys, those who are appearing in 2024 prelims, Great Indian bustard is very very important, right? It can be asked directly in the examination, so we will need to look certain facts related to Great Indian bustard, right? So let me give you a quick overview related to Great Indian bustard. What is its status, right? So that we are able to have a greater understanding of this particular topic. Okay, now when we talk about Great Indian bustard, I think everybody could see over here that its scientific name is Arditio nigriceps. Its population is 200 individuals worldwide. Its length is wingspan of 210 to 250 centimeter. When we talk about Wildlife Protection Act, very very important, it is listed in Schedule 1. When we talk about Convention on Migratory Species, right, this is also very important. It is in Appendix 1. Also, when we talk about CITES, it is in Appendix 1. And when we talk about IUCN, its status is critically endangered, and it is also included in the National Wildlife Action Plan. It has been identified as one of the species for the recovery program, and identified as one of the species for the recovery program under the Integrated Development of Wildlife Habitats of the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So these are the certain news and the points that you have to understand. Now, because it is in news, as you can see over here, this Great Indian bustard, so you have to remember all this data. It becomes very important that first of all, it is listed in Schedule 1, as you can see. Then it is a part of Appendix 1 of CITES and Appendix 1 of CMS, plus it is in IUCN critically endangered category. Okay. Now, when we see its habitat, it has been distributed throughout Western India, spanning 11 states as well as parts of Pakistan. Its stronghold was once the Thar Desert. Today, its population is mostly confined to Gujarat and Rajasthan. Small population occur in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Bustards generally favor flat, open landscape with minimum visual obstruction and destruction, therefore adapt well in the grasslands. In the non-breeding season, they frequently wide agro grass scrub landscapes, while in the breeding season, they congregate in traditional undisturbed grassland patches. So these are certain points that we have to understand because these can be directly asked in the examination, right? तो अगर आपको न्यूज़पेपर में कभी भी कोई ऐसा स्पीशीज मिलता है जिसके बारे में चर्चा हो रही है, तो आपको बस एक ही काम करना है, you put that species, put in the online Google, and you go to this site, that is WWF India. This is very important. That is Worldwide Fund for Nature, and you can have a direct data related to all the information that you want to find related to this. We can also have its main other things as well, that it can be easily distinguished by its black crown on the forehead, contrasting with the pale neck and head. The body is brownish and the wings are marked with black, brown, and gray. Males and females generally grow to the same height and weight, but males have larger black crowns and a black band across the breast. So these type of things you have to understand, and these are the type of things you need to note down in your notes as well. Now, the biggest threat to this species is hunting, which is still prevalent in Pakistan. Then it is followed by occasional poaching, then collision with high tension electric wires. So these are the certain areas that we have to understand, and these are the certain points that we need to understand. I hope this point is clear to everybody. That is the topic related to Great Indian Bustard. Hanji guys, quickly tell me. So you are aware of this particular topic, and this is very, very important that it was one of the mascot at the conference of parties to the Bonn Convention, where it is listed under Appendix 1 as well, that it was the mascot Great Indian Bustard, and the theme of that conference was migratory species, because it was a convention related to migratory species, that migratory species connect the planet and we welcome them home. Okay, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. राव, दिस इज ऑल रिलेटेड टू, लेट्स से, जो भी हमने पहले डिस्कस किया है, जो अभी रिसेंटली बताया था कि मॉनसूनल रेनफॉल पिछले 40 सालों में बढ़ गई है, राइट, वो चीज बताने की कोशिश करी गई है यहाँ पे. एंड दिस इज रिलेटेड टू ऑल द, वी कैन से, not important from our examination point of view, right? So this is again case studies you can read out from here, right? And then we have certain world news. Israel bombs Gaza as it publicly spars with ally US. Now this is all almost known कि USA की अगर हम बात करते हैं, it has been a traditional ally of Israel, right? पाकिस्तान एंड ईरान ने बोला है कि de-escalate करने को after air strike. So this is a very good news coming from this West Asian region कि भाई इन्होंने यहाँ पे sense of what we can say, sense has prevailed, and they have decided that it is no right that they shall be striking each other with airstrikes. So as a result, they have said that we will try to de-escalate. Okay. US force strike Houthi sites in Yemen for the 5th time. I think this is absolutely aware to everybody that USA and Yemen forces, and that is being forwarded by Houthi. They have been attacking each other, and Houthi has been attacking the container vessels in the Red Sea, and USA has been attacking the Houthi rebel sites, whether in the Red Sea or whether in the Yemen. So this location of Yemen becomes very, very important from our examination point of view, right? Okay. एक बार मैप भी देख लेते हैं येमेन का, सो दैट यू गाइस हैव अ बेटर आइडिया रिलेटेड टू येमेन पॉलिटिकल मैप, राइट? सो दैट यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस होल सिचुएशन, बिकॉज कई बार रह जाता है, बट हम इसको अच्छे से कर लेते हैं ताकि हम एक बार अच्छे से अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो जाए येमेन की लोकेशन है कहाँ पे, राइट? सो दिस इज येमेन, एज यू कैन सी ओवर हेयर. Now this is the area of Yemen, as you can see, ये सारा एरिया येमेन है, एंड यहाँ पे रेड सी है. दिस इज अरित्री, दिस इज जुजुबती, एंड दिस इज गल्फ ऑफ एडन, राइट? सो ये पूरा एक मैटर है जो आपको समझ में आना चाहिए. अब पेपर में अगर क्वेश्चन आता है गल्फ ऑफ एडन कहाँ पे है, ये रेड सी कहाँ पे है, तो आपको ये चीजें पता होनी चाहिए कौन कौन से एरियाज हैं. दिस इज द मैप दैट वी हैव ऑफ येमेन. ऊपर सऊदी अरेबिया है और साथ में क्या है, ओमान है, राइट? सो दिस इज अ पॉलिटिकल मैप दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. चाइना विलिंग टू प्ले अ कंजर्वेटिव रोल टू कूल पाकिस्तान ईरान टेंशंस. आई थिंक सबको पता ही चल चुका होगा कि अगर जो टेंशंस बीच में अब कम होने की कोशिश हो रही हैं, ये क्यों हो रही हैं? बिकॉज चाइना इज विलिंग टू प्ले अ कंस्ट्रक्टिव रोल, बिकॉज चाइना के दोनों ट्रेडिशनल अलाइज हैं, Pakistan and Iran is now has become very closer to China, and Pakistan has always been close to China. So as a result, China is saying कि भाई इन दोनों में शांति बनाए रखो. Beijing is a close partner of both heavily armed countries. China has long played a critical role in arming Iran, while military cooperation is a central pillar of China-Pakistan friendship. So this is the point that we have to understand. Now this is a very interesting news. NATO holds its biggest military drills next week. NATO will launch its biggest military exercises in decades next week, with around 90,000 personnel set to take part in months of drills aimed at showing the alliance can defend all of its territory up to its border with Russia. So this is basically related to, you must be able to understand, that's all political, this is all geopolitical, that NATO is trying to, let's say, what they're trying to do, they are trying to bog down, if we can talk about in case of Russia. Okay. No, I think this is okay. ठीक है guys, so this was it in today's newspaper, right? So today's newspaper has been relatively easy, and I think everybody would agree with me on one part कि आजकल आपने देखा है हिंदू का ट्रेंड चेंज हो चुका है, हाउ दे ट्राई टू पब्लिश द न्यूज़पेपर. से यस और नो? Quickly. Earlier, we used to have a news page after the nation page, after the editorial page. Now they have changed the whole pattern. Nation page is before the editorial page. Second important thing is the world affair news used to be one page only. Now they have taken it to 3 to 4 pages. Why? Because there are a lot of current affairs that are happening in the world. So as a result, they are now trying more and more focus on that part, right? So हमारे लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि जब हम एग्जामिनेशन की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं तो हम भी उसके ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा फोकस करें, so that we are also able to have a good viewpoint related to world affairs. So if Hindu is giving a more dedicated focus to current affairs of the world, so obviously we need to be making sure that हम भी वर्ल्ड का मैप तो बहुत अच्छे से करके जाए, क्या कौन से आइलैंड्स इंपॉर्टेंट रहे हैं, कौन से एरियाज न्यूज में रहे हैं, सो वो चीजें हमारे टिप्स में होनी चाहिए. Because UPSC can ask anything, and if UPSC can ask anything, at least we will try to make sure that we are able to understand and realize what kind of questions can be asked, right? So it is very much imperative you see previous year questions as well, how they have tried to ask the questions, and make sure that you have that as a baseline when you are preparing for this year prelims. I hope most of you are giving the prelims this year. How many of you are giving the prelims? Raise your hand. Or let's say type yes. हाँ जी. कितने लोग इस बार का प्रीलिम्स दे रहे हैं? ओके, 2 3. देखो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ओके 4. ओके, तो बेटा मुसीना मैम, मोहम्मद जी आप थोड़ी स्पीड स्लो करके देख लिया कीजिए 1.75 पे. There's an option, right? Because I think for everybody it's not that much speedy. Okay. So I think there are a lot of students, 8, 9 students that I can call that are giving the prelims, right? So make sure that you are up for it. First of all, अपनी पहले तो स्ट्रेटेजी बना लो कि मैंने ये 4 महीने में कैसे स्ट्रेटेजी करनी है. पेपर इज कमिंग क्लोजर, सो यू नाउ योर फोकस शैल बी ऑन प्रीलिम्स. दिस इज अ स्ट्रेटेजी दैट आई वांट टू फॉलो. दीज आर द कंपोनेंट्स दैट आई विल ट्राई टू कवर. ये कंपोनेंट मैं इतने दिन में कंप्लीट करूंगा, इतने दिनों में करूंगा. दिस इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड हैव द एनालिसिस ऑफ PYQs as well and integrate them into your notes, plus join a test series as well, which will give you a little bit confidence, because that is also very important, right? Prelims crack कर लो, CSAT को अच्छे से prepare करो, and then the, let's say, path will become a little easier, because I think if you write and attempt every question in mains ठीक ठाक, you would be get a call in the interview, right? So it's not that difficult. पेपर कुछ ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट नहीं है, बस हमने अपने दिमाग में हुआ बना लेता है यार हम भी कर लेंगे, हम ही करेंगे और कौन करेगा. ठीक है. जो स्टूडेंट्स करते हैं वो भी क्या कोई अलग से कोई वो तो नहीं है, कोई अलग से बच्चे हैं, है ना? आप जैसे ही लोग होते हैं, बट वो होता है कि उन्होंने एक प्रॉपर ना पैटर्न फॉलो किया है, बस उसी को फॉलो कीजिए. चलिए, I hope this is it for today, guys, and we will see each other now on Monday. Till then, right? Take care and enjoy. Thank you so much.